Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing well. In today's session, we'll be dealing with Alexander's Feast or the Power of Music, written by John Dryden. We'll begin by giving a brief introduction about John Dryden himself. He was born in Northamptonshire, England on August 9th, 1631. In 1644, he was sent to Westminster School, where his headmaster was Dr. Richard Busby, a strict disciplinarian. In 1650, Dryden went up to Trinity College, Cambridge. He obtained his BA in 1654. Dryden received a classical education at Westminster School and Trinity College, Cambridge. John Dryden was an English poet, literary critic, translator, playwright, and was appointed as England's first poet laureate in the year 1668. The position poet laureate is an honorary position given to prestigious literary artists in England. Dryden is seen as dominating the literary life of Restoration England to such a point that the period came to be known in literary circles as the Age of Dryden. Romanticist writer Sir Walter Scott called him Glorious John. After John Donne and John Milton, John Dryden was the greatest English poet of the 17th century. He published his first important poem, Heroic Stanzas, in 1659, which is a eulogy on Cromwell's death. In 1660, Dryden celebrated the restoration of the monarchy and the return of Charles II with his famous work, Astrea Redux. Alexander's Feast or the Power of Music poem was written by John Donne in the year 1697, and it's about Alexander III the Great. He became the king of Egypt by defeating Darius, who was the king of Persia. Alexander attacks Persian army and captures Persepolis. Alexander gives a royal feast to rejoice this victory, and that is the main theme of this poem. In this poem, we could see that Dryden tries to show or tries to bring out the importance of music, how music can change the emotion of human beings. Just take the example of when we are watching a movie or a serial or something, we can see that in each and every situation, the music creates a mood for that situation. For example, when we see a romantic scene on television, we could see that the music is also very romantic. When we see a very tensed moment, we could see that the music also gains a lot of tension, and when the character is sad, then the music also changes its tone to become a sad tune. So likewise, music has a great power to change the human emotions and feelings, and even to convey the strong emotions and feelings to other human beings. In this poem, Dryden tries to give us a glimpse of what all are the important features of music are. He claims that music has got the power to influence human emotion and behavior. It can make you cry, laugh, feel, provoke, and even shift emotions. The poem begins at the feast that Alexander the Great is giving to his fellow warriors, and he is giving this feast because he defeated the Persian army and captured Persepolis, as I've told before. And there was a bard named Timotheus over there who accompanied him to give a musical performance. Actually, Alexander and Timotheus are not contemporaries. Timotheus was an ancient musician, and here Dryden tried to bring these two people from very diverse areas or diverse lifetime together. Alexander's age was completely different from the age of Timotheus, but Dryden tried to bring together these two characters to show us the importance of music. So, as I've told before, Timotheus was actually an ancient musician, and Alexander the Great was a warrior who wanted to capture the whole world. He was an extremely efficient and very courageous person. Now, let's move into the poem. The first stanza. It was at the royal feast for Persia won by Philip's warlike son. Aloft in awful state, the godlike hero sate on his imperial throne. His valiant peers were placed around, their brows with roses and with myrtles bound. So should desert in arms be crowned. The lovely Thais by his side sate like a blooming eastern bride, in flower of youth and beauty's pride. Happy, happy, happy pair, none but the brave, none but the brave, none but the brave deserves the fair. So, in the outset itself, the poet is telling that Alexander has given a royal feast for his fellow companions since he has won Persia. And here the poet is actually calling Alexander, who is the son of Philip, and he is being described, Alexander is being described as Philip's warlike son. Philip is Alexander's father. Aloft in awful state. Aloft means he is sitting in a high position, or he is in a throne, and he is in a wonderful state of emotion. He is extremely happy. And here he is being described as a godlike hero. He has won the war and he is compared as God like hero, and he's sitting on his imperial throne. He's sitting on his throne and watching all his companions and warriors having a wonderful time with him. He has thrown an amazing party with lots of food and wine for them to rejoice. His valiant peers were placed around. Valiant means brave. His brave companions or warriors are around him, and each of them have a tiara on their head with roses and myrtles. The tiara is actually on their head, and since they have worn the tiara, their vision has been a little bit disrupted because the tiara is sitting right on their eyebrows. And so should desert in arms be crowned. So here desert means deserving. Here the poet is telling that Alexander wanted all his warriors be crowned with tiaras because he absolutely knows that all of them are deserving that tiara, because without them he would have never won the battle. The lovely Thais by his side sate like a blooming eastern bride. Thais is actually Alexander's wife, and she's a Persian lady, and she is sitting beside Alexander, and she is compared as a blooming eastern bride. It is a simile that's being told over here. And Thais is compared as a blooming eastern bride. Eastern brides are actually very very beautiful, and they are extravagant during their bridal ceremony. Eastern brides, especially brides like us, when we are in our bridal costumes, we'll be having a lot of ornaments and glittery saris and all, and very colorful and very pompous will be our attire. And here Alexander's wife Thais is also looking just like an Eastern bride, and she is very young and extremely beautiful, and she is sitting just next to Alexander. And then we could see there is a refrain in which happy, happy, happy pair. None but the brave, none but the brave, none but the brave deserves the fair. So here it's being described that the pair here is Alexander and Thais are extremely happy. They should be happy because they have won the war. And here it's being told that none but the brave deserves the fair. That is, only the bravest person deserves the beautiful bride. That is, Alexander is completely deserving such a beautiful wife, Thais. So that was the first stanza. I hope you understood. I'll just give a brief summary of it. That is, Alexander has won the war against Persia, and he is throwing a feast for his companions. He is sitting on a throne. He is described as god-like hero, and he is also Philip's warlike son. And he is giving his happy time to his companions. He is surrounded by his warriors and brave companions who were with him throughout his war. And he is telling that all those brave warriors deserve the crown or the tiara because they have worked so hard for it. And besides Alexander, we could see his wife Thais sat, and she is extremely beautiful, very young, and she looked like an Eastern bride. And everybody is cheering for Alexander and his wife, and everybody is telling that Alexander truly deserves such a beautiful wife because he is such a brave warrior. Moving on to the second stanza. Timotheus placed on high amid the tuneful choir, with flying fingers touch the lyre. The trembling notes ascend the sky, and heavenly joys inspire. The song began from Jove, who left his blissful seats above. Such is the power of mighty love. A dragon's fiery form belied the god. Sublime on radiant spires he rode, when he to fair Olympia pressed, and while he sought her snowy breast, then round her slender waist he curled, and stamped an image of himself as sovereign of the world. The listening crowd admire the lofty sound. A present deity, they shout around, present deity. The watered roof rebound. With ravished ears the monarchs hear. Assumes the god, affects to nod, and seems to shake the spheres. So, in this stanza, we could see that Timotheus was placed in a higher position. He is sitting just high, just like Alexander. It shows that Alexander has given a lot of importance to musicians, and musicians were given a higher position over there in his party. And he is sitting not alone but with his choir. A lot of people, or his band, is surrounded by around him, and his fingers are touching the lyre, and actually his fingers were flying because his finger movements are so fast and it's so flexible that when we see him playing the lyre, we feel that his fingers are flying and the notes are trembling. Notes mean the musical notes are trembling, and it gives us a feeling that it is coming from the sky. Such a melodious song, and those songs actually gives us a heavenly joy. Those who listen to that music is having an heavenly feeling. Timotheus begins from the song of Jove. Jove is also known as Zeus. He is a Greek god, and this song gives us a feeling that Timotheus begins by giving us a religious song, and who left his blissful seats above, such is the power of mighty love. So actually in this stanza, Timotheus is trying to say that Alexander is Jove's son. Jove is a Greek god. He's also known as Zeus. He is the god of gods. We could say that. He's such a powerful god. And here Timotheus is trying to compare or trying to give us a clear idea regarding how Alexander became such a warlike son or a godlike hero, and how he became so brave, because only gods have such bravery. And if Alexander is so brave, he could none other than become the son of God. So here Alexander is being described as the son of Zeus, and for that he means Timotheus is through his music is trying to tell the story of how Alexander was born. And here Timotheus is telling that Jove came from above. The gods are sitting above, and he came to this world to give birth to such a brave hero, Alexander. And Alexander's mother is Olympia. Jove came in a form of dragon. He did not come as a human being, but instead he became a dragon, and he came down to this world just for love, and he went and made love with Olympia, and with the help of Olympia, Zeus was given, or Zeus gave a birth to Alexander in this world. And such a brave and a person who only sees victory was born by that. And when Olympia gave birth to Alexander, it reminded everybody that Zeus has given a stamp or an image of himself or a sovereign to the world, because he has given himself or an imprint of himself to the world, who is known as Alexander. And when the crowd listened to the story, they began to shout that, oh, he is a present deity. Deity means God. He is a present God. And this shouting of this actually trembled, or it echoed through the roof to the sky, and everybody began to repeat the same thing. They all felt that he is a god. That is, he means Alexander is a god. And Alexander was extremely happy or pleased to hear or listen to this thing. That is, he was extremely happy to listen to Timotheus singing this, and also the crowd telling that he is a god. And he is listening to all these things, and he began to feel like he is a real god. And when he listened to the music of Timotheus, he felt as if whatever they are telling or they are singing is correct, and to the music he began to nod as if whatever the musicians are singing at the moment are perfectly right. So that's the second stanza. I hope this session was fruitful for you all. So we'll continue this poem in the next class. Thank you so much.